Welcome to the Weather Insights Tropical Briefing. I'm meteorologist Scott Pitney along with meteorologist Jeff Lindner. And we are here in mid-October and we still have activity out there. We have Nadine, starting off with Nadine, moved into Central America. Nadine is fading fast. And then we have Hurricane Oscar. There's Nadine. And then we had Hurricane Oscar that made landfall around 5 p.m. around Cuba. And Jeff, are we talking about a hurricane or a large thunderstorm? The wind field on this, the hurricane force winds, only extending, I think, 6 miles out. So this is a very, very small storm, but nonetheless, and this is the kind of strange things that we see with October tropics, the tracks, the storm intensities, the size. You can see it there, very, very small in size and with the wind field, but it's expected to eventually turn north and then northeast and move back over the Bahamas as a tropical storm. A slow mover, so slow movers can tend to drop a lot of rain. They're of course looking for things like that in Cuba with the mountains there. Mudslides are certainly possible, but then moves back over the Bahamas as a tropical storm and makes its way out to the Atlantic by midweek. So nothing too impressive, except this storm went from a 10% chance of development to a hurricane. That was a little bit surprising, I think.
Oh yeah, just slightly. It's another one of these small systems, and I'm not totally convinced that this made landfall as an 80-mile-per-hour hurricane. We did not have reconnaissance aircraft in here this afternoon. Obviously, this is Cuban airspace, and so the U.S. Air Force aircraft couldn't go in here, and the NOAA airplane couldn't. So, just looking at the satellite here, this thing looks like potentially the eye was starting to clear out a little bit as it started to come into the coast, and so it could have been stronger. We'll probably never know unless there's an observation site it accidentally hit in eastern Cuba. But this is very mountainous areas here. And so this little tiny core, like you said, 6 miles across, that those mountains are going to do a number on the circulation. You can already see it degrading as it comes in here. So I'm not 100% sure there's going to be a whole lot left of this as it comes back out over the Bahamas. We'll see. It's the potential here that this could dissipate over eastern Cuba in the mountains here. We'll see. It looks like it's even moving a little bit southwest of west southwest. So an odd motion, like you mentioned, for in this area. But it's October, and you can get some kind of weird motions of tropical systems in October, and you can see here going back. This is back to 1851 for the last 10 days of October, which we're just about to enter in. And it shows the location and the yellow dot of where storms have formed, and then the tracks of those storms. And you can see there's some crazy looking tracks out here with loops and figure eights and stuff like that. But the general consensus is everything kind of moves off to the northeast and even sometimes to the east northeast. So having Oscar down in here is not unprecedented this time of year where it formed. It certainly has happened before. But you can kind of see your hot spot here, the Western Caribbean, the Bahamas, maybe in the central Gulf of Mexico. People keep asking me, are we done in Texas? We're done in Texas. You can see this is, again, back to 1851. We've never had a tropical system make landfall in Texas the last 10 days of October. So
yeah,
we're pretty much finished here in along the Texas coast. And for us, we wish we could get rain. I mean, the drought continues to intensify. We've seen this is from last Thursday, so the drought monitor is updated weekly on Thursday, and we saw at least a category degradation in the drought monitor last week across Southeast Texas. So from going from the D0, the abnormally dry conditions, to the D1 moderate drought, and even some severe drought starting to creep in over in the Beaumont Port Arthur area and also here into central Texas. And so this is not good. I have a feeling we're going to be talking about this a lot as we go into the fall and the winter. We cannot buy a drop of rain right now in Texas, especially in Southeast Texas. There is actually some moisture down here in South Texas. They've had some rain this weekend. But given the La Nina pattern we're in, it really supports dryness and warm temperatures as we go into the fall and the winter. And that's exactly what we've seen here. Interestingly enough, even the driest of the forecast models for October Did not have it this dry. I don't think we've had any rainfall at all at Intercontinental. I have to go back and look. But if we've had any, we're talking maybe a couple tenths at the most, and so we desperately need rainfall. This is the forecast outlook.
Since September, right, Jeff? I mean, it's been over a month, I want to say. I don't know what the official measurement is, but it has been a while.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and look at the last
Yeah.
time it actually rained. I know the last time we had decent rains around here was around Labor Day, so we're talking at least a month and a half or so since we've had widespread decent rain.
Yeah.
And this is the rainfall forecast for the next 7 days. And like I said, there's just nothing here. Locally, maybe down here in South Texas with the easterly flow, the big high pressure sitting over the East Coast, which keeps bringing in these east and east northeast winds, the dry air, the low dew points. This may funnel in some moisture down here in the lower Texas coast. And we actually have some moisture up here in the Panhandle associated with an upper level low moving out of New Mexico. They actually had, I think it's either 5 or 7 inches of rain yesterday in Roswell, New Mexico, which resulted in just horrible flooding in this area. So
Yeah.
it's interesting that we just can't precipitate right now in this state. And October is usually one of our wetter months, usually the second wettest behind May. So
Yeah.
we're really going to start falling behind in our rainfall here if we can't get something going.
Yeah. Yeah, they've had a chance for severe weather up there in New Mexico and through Colorado. So, but not here. And yeah, like you said, we're in that La Nina pattern, and it is dry, but it is abnormally dry, bone dry, D1 already for Harris County. So yeah, not much change going on there. So please don't burn anything outside, especially when these fronts come through and we get these northerly winds that exasperate the fire hazards. So hopefully everybody's being responsible with that. But anyway, fingers crossed for some rain here in Texas soon, and we will keep you up to date on that. We're going to stay with you on the tropics with our tropics briefings all the way through the hurricane season, which officially ends November 30th. And then we'll bring other weather and kind of start returning to our normal format too with our interviews and things like that. And also be sure to check out our blog on our Weather Insights website. Jeff, thank you very much. Good stuff as always, sir.